Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Editorial. As on 13th June, the central government decided not to sell rice and wheat to the state government. I will explain the process and all to you, but let me give you the gist of the story. They will make ethanol out of rice. That is okay. That they will do, but they will not sell it to states. That is the decision they took. Now, Congress says that, listen, you know what? During our election, we had promised that we will give free rice. Why are you not selling rice to us? How will we fulfill our election promise? So, Congress says this is done purposely. Let's discuss that. That's my topic number one. My topic number two is the entire states, almost 4 or 5 states, not the entire country, but 4 or 5 states, governors are commemorating the foundation day, the state foundation day for West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee says, I am the chief minister and I don't want to commemorate the foundation day for West Bengal. Why are you guys doing it? Let's discuss that. Let's understand the story. Let's understand who is right and who is wrong. Finally, you will decide as usual. But let's get into that story. Let's get right into the show. So to keep a check on food inflation, the government of India took some steps. Steps included ban or restriction on exports, imposition of stock limits, and a ban on future trading, etc. Now on 13th of June 2023, a few days back, the government took 2 very decisive steps. Number 1 step it took is not to issue wheat and rice to state governments under the Open Market Sale Scheme, OMSS. They refused to sell wheat and rice to the state government. Number 1. Number 2, they also reduced the lot size for individual bidders under the OMSS auction for private trade. So, जो lot size hai, those were reduced by the government. Now, before I get into this, why does the government require wheat and rice? Is because, see, the government stores wheat and rice is because government is obliged to give 60 million metric tons of wheat and rice under the National Food Security Act 2013. Government is obliged to give that. Now, this has to be given to close to 813 million beneficiaries across the country. This is mandated by the government. They have to do it. So, for which they collect, they procure wheat and rice and they distribute it. Acha, now what really happens is the government procures more than what they have to give. Normally, they procure more than what they have to give, and post which the excess what they have, they sell it through this OMSS like I told you and other schemes that they have, and they sell it to individual states and they sell it to individual trade, and that's how it happens. ठीक है, all this is fine, all good. ठीक है ना? Now the point is, Congress says no. They say this is not fair. The state government, the central government is doing this deliberately. Central government is refusing to not sell us the wheat and rice deliberately for the simple reason that we had promised rice in our election. We had promised rice to, under the scheme, they call that scheme, let me tell you, the scheme is called Anna Bhagya scheme. The Congress government says, we had promised it to our voters that we will give rice under the Anna Bhagya scheme. Now you are not selling us rice, which means you want us to default on our promise. Congress says this is politics. Now, Siddaramaiah is going to Delhi. Of course, he is going to for a courtesy call with the president, also with the Home Minister, Union Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah. In fact, with him is his Minister of Civil Supplies, that is Muniyappa, who is going to meet Minister of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, Piyush Goyal. So, Congress cries foul. Congress says this is politics, this is not real. And Bharatiya Janata Party and the central government says, what are you talking about? It is not that you are the only state that we are not selling rice to. We are not selling rice and wheat to anybody. We are not selling rice and wheat to even BJP-led state. So what are you crying about? This is what their stand is. They are not giving it to any state, which is fine, which is correct. That's not wrong. But then there is a problem. As always, there is a problem. The problem is, states ko nahi de raha hai khane ko. To eat, they are not giving states. They're saying, listen, food inflation, we have to take these steps. Fair enough. But they're giving rice for ethanol production. That they're providing rice from FCI, Food Corporation of India. So, what Congress government and the opposition is asking, you are giving it for ethanol, for petrol, but you are not giving it to us. How is this fair? And therefore, they are saying, listen, this is unfair. This is purely politics. This is politics of rice. We have to give it to our voters. You are not giving it to us so that we fail. Now, we can have that discussion for a longer time, but the point is, if you look at numbers, like we always like to do, let us look at some numbers. Now, if you look at numbers of rice, 2016, we had in FCI, the Food Corporation of India had a stock as on talking about June 1st. 2016, there was a stock of 27.2 metric tons of rice. 2017, there was a stock of 28.8 metric tons of rice. 2018, there was a stock of 29.5 metric tons of rice. 2019, 35.6 metric tons of rice. 2020, 41.4 metric tons of rice. 2021, 49.1 metric tons of rice. 2022, 49.7 metric tons of rice. This is the all-time high, 2022. And 2020, we have a stock of 41.4 metric tons of rice. Let's also talk about wheat since we are on the subject. 2016, we had 32.6 metric tons, 17, 33.4 metric tons, 43.8 metric tons, 18, 46.6, 19, 55.8, 20, 60.3, 21, 31.1, 22. We had a huge fall from 60.3 metric tons to 31.1 metric tons and 23, 31.4 metric tons. So there has been a significant fall in the production of or in the stock of wheat as far as FCI is concerned, but rice has been more or less steady. So the question is, rice kyun nahi de rahe ho phir? What has changed so drastically? Why are you depriving us of buying rice from the open market? That is the open market sales scheme. Why are you depriving us of that? So this is a question that is unanswered. This is a question that has two versions of answers, the central version and the state version. Central says inflation, state says politics. So, we'll wait and watch and kind of get more details on this and figure out what exactly is this, politics or actual steps taken for food inflation. Let's get into our next topic. Mamata Banerjee is livid. Mamata Banerjee is livid. You see, 5 states, including her own state, West Bengal, celebrated the State Foundation Day of West Bengal. Now, this is under the directive of the central government that the union government decided that, you should celebrate State Foundation Day. But Mamata Banerjee had her reservation about celebrating the West Bengal State Foundation Day. And the reason why she was not so comfortable celebrating the West Bengal State Foundation Day is very well enumerated in the letter which I am going to read to you in next 2 minutes. But before that, let me tell you the series of events. The government had asked states to celebrate the State Foundation Day. The governors were given the instructions, and Mamata Banerjee had spoken to the governor of West Bengal and told him that, listen, sir, we are not very comfortable doing it. And according to her and according to the letter that you are going to soon see, the governor had assured her that, let us discuss this. But incidentally, this letter was written on the 19th, and incidentally, the governor went out and celebrated the State Foundation Day on the 20th. That is the next day. That is yesterday. Now, not only did the governor of West Bengal celebrate this, the governor of Tamil Nadu celebrated it, the governor of Meghalaya celebrated it, the governor of Bihar celebrated it, governor of Jharkhand, governor of Arunachal Pradesh, governor of Assam. 6 states celebrated it. Miss Mamata Banerjee was very upset. She wrote this letter to the governor on the 19th of this month, a day before the celebration of the Foundation Day. Just have a look at this letter.
Respected Governor, I am stunned and shocked to know that you have decided to organize a program on 20th June 2023 at Raj Bhavan, Kolkata, commemorating what you have peculiarly chosen to describe as the State Foundation Day of West Bengal. In this regard, kindly refer to our telephonic discussions today when you had admitted that unilateral and non-consultative decision to declare a particular day as the Foundation Day of the state of West Bengal is not warranted. You were kind enough to assure that you would not proceed to hold the program. I would like to state that West Bengal was carved out of undivided state of West Bengal in 1947 through a most painful and traumatic process. The process involved uprooting of millions of people across the border and death and displacement of innumerable families. The economy of Bengal was destroyed and devastated, and the truncated state of West Bengal suffered a sudden disruption of communication and infrastructure too. The slicing out of West Bengal was seen as a historical necessity at that point of time, but it was also known that it was tragic destiny for the people of Bengal. The state was not founded on any particular day, least of all on any 20th of June. Contrarily, the state was formed through the infamous Radcliffe Award, which was given legitimacy by the departing colonial imperial government. Since independence, we in West Bengal have never rejoiced over, or commemorated, or celebrated any day as the Foundation Day of West Bengal. Rather, we have seen the partition as a result of unleashing of communal forces that could not be resisted at that point of time. We have been born and brought up here, and have never commemorated any state foundation day for the aforesaid reasons. This may at best be a program of a political party, driven by vendetta but not of the people or its government. Bengal has a rich and diverse culture, and a long-standing history of brotherhood. It is Bengal from where the freedom struggle, renaissance, and social reforms were started. Such an action on your part will create avoidable confusion, mistrust, and political animosity. In sum, it is an unprecedented step of yours, which has been done unilaterally by you without following any procedure of obtaining the necessary consent of the state cabinet and the state legislature. This act on your part would hurt the sentiments of people and insult and determine the millions of people in West Bengal today. Insofar as any communication of the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Government of India, on this subject is concerned, we strongly protest against this historical, unconstitutional, and unilateral decision of the Government of India to commemorate the so-called Foundation Day of the state of West Bengal on 20th June. As agreed by you, I request you kindly not hold any such program which will rekindle the bitter memories of crores of people in West Bengal and reincite undesirable forces. With regards, yours sincerely, Mamata Banerjee.
See, what she says is there are a lot of bad memories with that partition. We don't want to celebrate those bad memories. As Bengalis, we don't want to celebrate those bad memories. And therefore, we don't want to celebrate our Foundation Day. I mean, whatever the state says, center says, it can't be diktat, right? Center can't say, can't tomorrow morning celebrate, so we have to celebrate. Tomorrow morning, don't mourn, so you have to mourn. Aisa nahi hota hai na? This is what she said. She says, listen, we don't want to celebrate. And she says that, like in the letter, she says, I told you this. We had a telephonic conversation. And now I hear that tomorrow you are celebrating it. Now, the question is, again, is the center trying to find ways, means, opportunities to go against the state? Is the center trying to find ways, means, opportunity to put the state down, especially states, not especially states which are ruled by non-BJP governments? Are they really looking out for a reason or another to pull the state down? I mean, this is a very serious conversation that one should have. Because somewhere down the line, our federalism, I spoke to you a day before, I spoke to you about Stalin threatening the center, saying that, listen, don't take this as a threat, take this as a warning. But the conflict was very clear. A few days back, a few months back, we saw Arvind Kejriwal doing the same. Before that, we saw Mamata Banerjee then doing the same. Before that, we saw Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray doing the same. Why is this happening? Why is the center trying to push the state to the wall? What are they going to achieve out of it? What are they going to achieve out of it? Is pulling a state government down or showing a state government down going to fetch them more votes in that particular state? Delhi, it's not worked. Believe me, Delhi, it's not worked. Karnataka, it won't work if this continues. Tamil Nadu, definitely it is not going to work. Trinamool Congress, it's not going to work. The West Bengal people are not going to appreciate their government being pulled down every time. Their government being put into trouble every time. Their government being denied their rights every time. The people are not going to accept this. So what is the strategy? What is the strategy? What kind of supremacy are you showing? And most importantly, where is democracy in all this? The process of mending ways, the process of coming together, the process of harmony, the process of love, the process of brotherhood, all this almost have disappeared from our country. It has disappeared from our country because nowadays nobody talks about it. In fact, you are seen weak if you talk about it. You are mocked at when you talk about it. Now, that's fine if somebody wants to do it that way. But what's going to happen to us is this country is going to see a lot of disgruntled states. The center state wedge is only going to increase. You cannot always force. You cannot always use your muscle power, your central agencies. You can't always threaten somebody to succumb to you. A few leaders may. A few political parties may, but a lot of them won't. And the more you do it, you will find more political parties, more politicians are becoming more immune to these threats. You see, these threats worked far more in the late, 2018, 19, 20. And as this almost became a way of life, the perception of the threat and even the threat has almost, the impact of it has come down. Look at AAP. AAP is absolutely impact. Not 1% left AAP with all these people going behind bars. And I think that's what's going to happen with DMK if something of that sort happens there. And slowly but steadily, even Trinamool Congress. They were shaken first when initially it happened, but now they've also managed to kind of hold their grounds. So the point that I'm trying to make is, you see, federal government, central government, union government, whatever you want to call it, union government should act the big brother, take the state government on their side, work with the state government, give that olive branch to the state governments, work together. When it's nearing the election, do what you want to do. But constantly this battle by this constitutional position called the governor versus the chief minister, which is very dangerous. And till I see you next time, that is tomorrow at 10 p.m. Namaskar.